Hi, I'm in Pilot's Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge. I'm in Chapter 4. This will be Aircraft Design Characteristics on 412. Each aircraft handles somewhat differently because each resists or corresponds to control pressures in its own way. For example, a training aircraft is quick to respond to control applications, while a transport aircraft feels heavy on the controls and responds to control pressures more slowly. These features can be designed into an aircraft to facilitate the particular purpose of the aircraft by considering certain stability and maneuvering requirements. The following discussion summarizes the more important aspect of an aircraft's stability, maneuverability, and controllability qualities, how they are analyzed, and their relationship to various flight controls. Stability. Stability is an inherent quality of an aircraft to correct for conditions that may disrupt its equilibrium and to return to or continue on the original flight path. It is primarily an aircraft design characteristics. The flight path and attitudes an aircraft flies are limited by the aerodynamic characteristics of the aircraft, its propulsion system, and its structural strength. The flight path and attitudes an aircraft flies are limited by the aerodynamic characteristics of the aircraft, its propulsional system, and its structural strength. These limitations indicate the maximum performance and maneuverability of the aircraft. If the aircraft is to provide maximum utility, it must be safely controllable to the full extent of these limits without exceeding the pilot's strength or requiring acceptable flying ability. If an aircraft is to fly straight and steady along an arbitrary flight path, the forces acting on it must be in static equilibrium. The reaction of any body when its equilibrium is disrupted is referred to as stability. The two types of stability are static and dynamic. Static stability refers to the initial tendency of direction of movement back to equilibrium. In aviation, it refers to the aircraft's initial response when disturbed from a given angle of attack, slip, or bank. Positive static stability, the initial tendency of the aircraft to return to the original state of equilibrium after being disturbed. Neutral static stability, the initial tendency of the aircraft to remain in a new condition after its equilibrium has been disturbed. Negative static stability, the initial tendency of the aircraft to continue away from the original state of equilibrium after being disturbed. Alright, so dynamic stability. Static stability has been defined as the initial tendency to return to equilibrium that the aircraft displays after being disturbed from its trim condition. Occasionally, the initial tendency is different or opposite from the overall tendency, so a distinction must be made between the two. Dynamic stability refers to the aircraft's response over time. When disturbed from a given angle of attack, slip, or bank, this type of stability also has three subtypes. Positive dynamic stability. Over time, the motion of the displaced object just decreases in amplitude, and because it is positive, the object displaced returns toward the equilibrium state. Neutral dynamic stability. Once displaced, the displaced object neither decreases nor increases its amplitude. A worn automobile shock absorber exhibits this tendency. Negative dynamic stability. Over time, the motion of the displaced object increases and becomes more divergent. Stability is an aircraft affects two areas significantly. Stability in an aircraft affects two areas significantly. Maneuverability. The quality of an aircraft that permits it to be maneuvered easily and to withstand the stresses imposed by maneuvers. It is governed by the aircraft's weight, inertia, size, and location of flight control, structural strength, and power plant. It, too, is an aircraft's design characteristics. Controllability, the capability of an aircraft to respond to the pilot's control, especially with regard to flight path and attitude. It is the quality of the aircraft's response to the pilot's control application when maneuvering the aircraft, regardless of its stability characteristics. A little bit of a picture. Alright, so that's aircraft design characteristics, stability, that's dynamic stability, static stability, and longitudinal stability. We'll hold off there before we go into longitudinal stability. See ya.